I'm Allison for Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and today we're going to go over some, like, what I like to call real life poodle maintenance, right? So here I have a poodle and she has like quite a bit of hair and she has done this, right? So what do you do? So the first step is, you don't really need to cry, and she kind of has this one back. Anyway, so here we have her top knot. She has a split top knot and she has just been rubbing at it, etc. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to like take these old bands out of here. We always cut the bands out. Don't do that. We don't, break them with a comb. We don't pull them out because that just pulls hair out every single time. So I like to cut them out and kind of get them out of my way. Now, so she's been rubbing her coat. It's also dark. It's also very dry out at the moment. It's a little bit warmer than usual. And in general, she's quite tough on her top knot. She likes to rub it and do all kinds of things. So the first thing I do is I like to just get the bands out of there. So of course I have to take everything out of both sides in case. I like to change up where I do that center part on their top knot, because then you don't get the hair to be like trained too much to keep going in the same place, and you get less breakage that way. So we're just going to go through here and cut out these bands. You can see she's really trying to not be very cooperative. All right. So once I have all of the old bands cut out, it doesn't really matter if they're sitting in there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get some moisture in there, right? Because dry hair just wants to break and snap off. So I'm just using a brushing spray and spraying it quite liberally and just kind of like getting it all in there. Then she has this one section that I didn't even know about way back here where the hair has just started webbing together. And I'm going to take my fingers and I'm just going to really break this up. I don't want to go in there with a brush, a comb, a slicker, nothing at this point. I'm using my biggest tools, which is my fingers, and just like trying to break up this section of coat as much as possible. Break up this back section and just kind of organizing it and looking to see what she has done over the past couple days, right? So I'm going to go all the way to the front, and then because I'm going to start brushing, I'm going to cover her eyes, and I'm just going to add another layer of brushing spray. So now I'm going to use a pin brush. I'm going to use a pin brush that has these really long flexible pins. So this is a 35mm pin on this pin brush, and I'm just going to go in there and again just kind of gather up that coat, and I'm just like starting, and as soon as my brush hits a tangle, I don't pull it to the end. I just knock the brush out, take the brush out, and just keep working the hair from the root to the end, and I'm being quite gentle. You can see at no time am I flicking my wrist. That's when you start breaking the hair. So I want to move the brush in an even plane till I get to the end, and I'm just lightly kind of brushing those super dry ends that she has at the end of her top knot. And you can see how much of her top knot I have brushed out, and I don't have any hair in my brush at all. Remember also that I'm using a pin brush that I only use for brushing. I don't use this pin brush for top knotting. So I don't use it for hairspray, therefore it's not sticky with hairspray. If it was, I would wash it. And now that I'm getting to this section, I can see that, this is where she has more tangling. The hair is already dry. So I'm adding like another liberal amount of brushing spray and just kind of going at it from every angle. So now even when you look at it, you can see that middle section that I like to do the ends, and just so that, there's going to be less damage as I get to the end. Just going through all of this top knot hair. So now I'm ready to do it like section by section. I've really got some moisture into that coat. I'm going to get the ear hair kind of out of my way. I'm going to spray that down a little bit as well. Okay, so now I just want to make sure that my brush goes all the way through all of these sections. And again, I'm not, when I get to those ends, I'm going to support the ends with my hands and just really break everything up. And like the idea is to think about any hair that comes off as hair that I've lost forever. I used to say any hair you get in the brush, you have to pretend that you're going to eat, and that really kind of motivates you to not get a lot of hair in there. And I can see this place like closer to the root, how it's webbing. I'm just going to go in there with my fingers and just keep breaking that up and go through there with my brush. And as I go all the way across, now I'm going to get into this next section. And I'm just using my fingers to bring a little section over, spraying it quite generously with some brushing spray. Just making sure that I can get all of this hair over to one side. And then, so once we take a look at this hair and we realize that we have all the tangles brushed out of it, and our brush is just like kind of gliding through the hair when we get stuck, we want to just make sure that everything is going quite smoothly. So now I have kind of these dry, damaged ends here that I am going to band. I'm going to put some really deep moisturizing. So she's rubbed those, they caused some breakage. So I'm going to use a deep conditioner. So today I'm going to use Miracle Cream. I like Miracle Cream on my Topknots because it's just easy to use because it comes out in that pump. And I like to emulsify it, warm it up between my hands. I find it just does a little bit better job. I'm just going to really start plastering it into all of these broken ends and really work it in there. So I'm working it into this dry coat. So if it looks a little bit wet, which it does right now, I don't really want you to worry about that because realistically it's going to dry. That dry hair is going to soak that up really, really quickly. And another thing that I like to do, and a lot of times people don't understand how it works, is I like to trim off the dead ends of my Topknot. So how do I do that? I like to part a section of hair, and I'm going to comb it up, and then anything that I can kind of see through at the top of that coat, if I put my hand behind it, those are the split ends that I just want to take off, right? So one thing about split or damaged ends is nothing is going to bond that split end back together, right? Like that split end is a split end. That's how it is. You can oil it, you can condition it, you can do whatever you like, and you might be able to make the split end look better, but you haven't actually fixed that split end and caused it from causing further damage. So that's why I like to just keep the very ends of my Poodle's Topknot. This one doesn't even look very even, but see those kind of split ends, and I'm just going to take my not very sharp scissors, because these are my band scissors, and just cut those ends off. I hope that that helped kind of see the steps that I go through when I have a Topknot that isn't in perfect condition. The dog has rubbed it, the dog has dry skin, the dog has done a lot of different things to really make that more difficult. And the idea is to save as much hair as possible. And then now when we go to re-Topknot her, we're gonna part her hair in different areas so that we're not making the breakage happen to the same area over and over again. So the next time you get into the trouble with a Topknot, I want you to think about this real life Topknot demo. I hope that helped. Don't forget to go to leadingedgedogshow.academy.com to see some of our premium content and webinars where we go in depth on grooming, training, and so much more. Of course, we would love for you to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video here on YouTube. And if there's something that you would like to see that you haven't yet seen on our YouTube channel, of course, just drop it in the comments below and we would be more than happy to bring you that content. So once again, I'm Allison from Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial.